The First Amendment protects so many of our liberties, it's hard to imagine our colleges and universities surviving without it. It was shocking then to find that students at one of those universities were actually happy to sign a petition to end it. Filmmaker Ami Horowitz asked students at Yale University if they would support doing away with the First Amendment. Here's what they said.
So what we're calling for is to repeal the First Amendment.
I think this is fantastic.
Okay.
I absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
I'll sign it for you guys.
All right, I appreciate it.
I appreciate what you're trying to do.
Unbelievable. Yale University. Ami Horowitz, filmmaker, joins me now. Ami, what's the backstory in this? I imagine it's because of all these universities where people were talking bad about the First Amendment, saying that it's more important to have safe spaces than freedom of speech, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, it just was so frustrating for me to watch all these free speech codes and these rallies against free speech all across campuses. And I decided to go to Yale because of that. If you remember that hysterical girl who was yelling at her professor saying that this is not a place for intellectual debate. This is a place for a home. I mean, what?
Well, there was also the case of that media teacher in Mizzou, I think it was, Missouri, who was coming out and saying we need to strong-arm this reporter to get him out of here. I mean, she was supposed to be teaching them about the First Amendment, and she was trampling on it. So it's just extraordinary what's going on here. But how did you tell us how you approach these students? Because some people can lead people on in a certain way. Did you say, you know, specifically, did they know what they were signing? This was to eliminate the First Amendment?
It was written on the document. I mean, it could not have been clearer that we want to repeal and get rid of the First Amendment. And then if you want to create something which has safe spaces and outlaws, I mean, I said I want to outlaw hurting other people's feelings. I said I want to outlaw microaggressions. I mean, I could not have been clearer about what the ramifications were of what we were doing here. And these lemmings just said, hey, I'm all about that.
Now, do they know that besides freedom of speech, the First Amendment talks about religion, talks about right of the people to peacefully assemble, which is what they are doing. It talks about petitioning the government for redress. I mean, do they actually know what's in the First Amendment? Did your petition say what they'd be losing by signing it?
No. Well, first of all, you know what? Maybe I made a mistake of making the assumption that a Yale student would know what's in the First Amendment. But I'll say one girl was very thoughtful. She said to me, and she's honest, she goes, I don't know exactly what's in it. So she pulled it up on her phone, and she read everything you just mentioned. And by the way, don't forget freedom of the press is in there also. And she read it, and she thought to herself, this doesn't resonate with me. And she signed the petition.
Unbelievable.
It was a precious moment. It was a precious moment.
Now, have the professors, final question, have the professors gotten back to you, or anybody at Yale University gotten back to you to comment on this? Have you tried to get comments from them?
Not me, but Fox News has, and the Yale essentially kind of blew it off, and another professor they contacted, it was emblematic of the whole situation. The professor said, yeah, what he showed was a horrible thing, but let's not forget it's less horrible than the Republican Party.
What?
And he said it was less horrible, yes, and less horrible than Obama bombing ISIS. That was the comparison he made. He connected those two things together with my video.
Kind of scary. And all for $65,000 a year. I wonder how the parents who are paying for this think about that. Ami Horowitz, you do great work, sir. Thanks for coming in again. Appreciate it. Melissa.
Always a pleasure, David.